Every empire meets its first enemy. Every brotherhood takes its first wound, and every legend earns its name in fire. The Angels had risen, but now California was rising against them. This is the story of their first true war, the one that proved they were unbreakable. The summer heat in California in the late 1950s wasn't just hot, it carried tension like static in the air. People whispered the name Hells Angels in bars, in garages, in cop stations, in other motorcycle clubhouses scattered across the state. Some whispered with admiration, some with fear, but more than a few whispered with jealousy. A new power had emerged on the highways, a new identity, a new brotherhood with a patch bold enough to challenge the hierarchy of the biker world. And in a landscape built on pride and territory, the Angels' rise felt like a storm rolling in. Sonny and the early Oakland chapter knew something was coming, but they didn't know when, or from whom, or how hard the hit would be. But they were about to find out. It happened on a quiet Tuesday night. Sonny had just finished tuning his Harley in the back of a friend's garage. The smell of gasoline and metal filled the air. The men laughed, passed around bottles, talked about the upcoming weekend ride. Then the garage door rolled open. One of the younger riders stumbled in, pale, shaking, furious. "They trashed my bike," he said, voice breaking. The Angels rushed outside. There, in the street, under the dim yellow street lamp, lay the wreckage. A Harley pushed to the ground, tires sliced open, gasoline leaking across the pavement like blood. On the tank, scratched into the paint with a blade, "Stay out." No signature, no patch, no name. But a message like that didn't need a signature. Everyone knew which rival club had been whispering threats for weeks. Sonny crouched beside the wreckage, his jaw tight. He touched the tank with his fingertips, not with anger first, but with respect. A man's bike was a part of his soul. To damage it was not provocation, it was war. Sonny called a meeting that same night. They gathered in an old abandoned lot near the Oakland docks. Harleys formed a circle, engines idling low like growling animals. The air smelled of salt, oil, and tension. Red stood beside Sonny. Other senior riders leaned in, their silhouettes lit by the glow of cigarettes and headlamps. Sonny didn't shout. He didn't bark orders. He spoke with the calm of a man who had already decided his path. They want to scare us. They want to break us apart before we grow stronger. But we don't back down. Not now, not ever. A murmur of agreement ran through the men. Then Sonny raised a hand. But we don't start a war blindly either. We move smart. We move united, and we answer with respect, the kind of respect they'll feel in their bones. The Angels didn't cheer. They nodded, seriously, silently. This wasn't about rage. It was about defending their identity. For the next few weeks, the Angels rode in pairs or in packs, never alone. They weren't afraid. They were prepared. They checked alleys, watched bars, kept an eye on roads where rival clubs were known to gather. Word spread. Rival members began to notice that every time they appeared, an angel was already watching, calm, steady, unblinking. The Angels weren't starting fights, but they weren't hiding either. This was the famous shadow ride era of the early Angels, where presence was the message. And yet, despite the rising tension, something else happened. Their bond grew stronger. Men who had only been acquaintances became brothers. Men who rarely spoke learned to trust each other with their lives. Fights broke out in bars, but they weren't fighting each other. For once, they were fighting for each other. War does that to men, even a war that hasn't fully begun. It happened on a Saturday night. Warm air, empty streets, a perfect evening for a ride. Sonny and about 20 Angels were parked outside a small diner near San Leandro. They had just finished eating when the sound came. Roaring engines, too many to be peaceful. In seconds, a rival club rolled into view. A wave of bald heads, heavy boots, clenched jaws, chrome glinting and red streetlight. They didn't stop to talk. They didn't threaten. They attacked. A chain flew through the air and smashed into a parked Harley. A bottle shattered near Sonny's feet. One of the Angels was blindsided with a pipe. The lot erupted. Men collided, fists landed, bodies fell to the dirt. Engines roared as bikes were pushed over or used as shields. It wasn't a bar scuffle. It was a battlefield. Sonny moved like a storm, controlled, precise, unstoppable. Red fought beside him, blood streaming from his forehead, but smiling like a man born for chaos. Minutes felt like hours, but when the dust settled, one thing was clear-cut. The Angels had not been defeated. They had endured, and endurance is what turns a club into a force. When the rival club retreated, the Angels didn't chase them. They regrouped, checked on each other, lifted bikes back onto their wheels, wiped blood off their jackets. Sonny looked at his men, bruised, battered, exhausted, and said quietly, "This is the price. This is the cost of being who we are." Then he added, "If any man wants out, he can walk away now." No one moved. Not a single rider. Not even the youngest prospects. That night, in a dusty lot under the glow of a broken street lamp, the Angels became something unbreakable. A brotherhood forged not just in chrome, but in blood. The rival club wasn't finished. The police weren't satisfied. And the public was beginning to fear the winged skull patch spreading across California. But a new, bigger threat was coming, one with badges, lawmakers, and newspapers behind it. The Angels thought the rival clubs were their enemies. They were wrong. Next, the newspapers attack, the media war that tried to destroy the Angels before they ever rose.